Hi guys, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for another royal news video. I've got a bit of a story to start this one off with. Yesterday, I got in trouble with my cat. Yes, you guys always hear me talk about my dogs, but my first ever fur baby was Mr. Binks, and I got him with my ex-partner many years ago. And when we broke up, I moved back home with my parents and he came with me. There was no way I was leaving him behind. So when I met my husband, we moved in together into a flat. And he'd already been living with my mum for so long and my stepdad, and he was spoilt rotten. And I thought it would be cruel to take him away from a nice big garden where he got used to living to then take him into a tiny flat where there was a road nearby. Well, yesterday I had my girls with me and we went round to pick up something off my mum. Needless to say, I got in serious trouble. Oh dear, he was so not happy. I had to go outside and go say hello to him. I got my parents to hold the dogs and he was so vocal. You never thought that you could get a bollocking off of a cat, but he was letting me stroke him, but he was meow, 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 and I could hear him. I could translate it to saying, "How dare you bring those two cretins into my castle?" He saw them drinking his milk and eating his biscuits. So needless to say, I think I owe him some serious amounts of catnip to try and buy favour back. But I just wanted to share that. He was not impressed at all. Now on Saturday, it was International Women's Day and there was drama that broke out in the royal fan ranks, the factions which sometimes war against each other. And this is fans of the royal family, but might be fans more of the King and Queen, or might be fans more of Catherine and William. And you'd be amazed on Twitter, there's always somebody starting an argument with someone else. That's why it's quite toxic if you don't know how to navigate it well. So what kicked off the drama on International Women's Day? Well, it all comes down to a lovely post from the royal family account celebrating female photographers that have captured lovely photographs of royal women throughout history. We had Frances Sally Day, who in the 1850s took a portrait of Queen Victoria, Dorothy Wilding's portrait of a very young Queen Elizabeth II in 1952, Christina Ebenezer, a more recent one in 2025 of the Duchess of Edinburgh, Jennifer Patterson in 2020, the then Duchess of Cornwall, as we now know her as Queen Camilla, Jane Bown in 1980, who took a lovely photograph of Princess Anne, and then Alice Hughes between 1901 and 1910, the then Princess of Wales, later known as Queen Alexandra. But what kicked it off was, why were there no iconic photographs of our now Princess of Wales? Where was Catherine? Why was she not in there? And people got very upset and felt that this was a personal attack on our princess, especially because there are so many amazing photographs out there. But the thing is, the majority of those photographs have been taken by male photographers, with the exception of Millie Pilkington, who took a beautiful wedding portrait of Catherine and William. And then Millie also took this beautiful portrait of Princess Charlotte. And they didn't make it into the ranks. What added further fuel to the fire, however, was the fact that Catherine once took an incredible photograph of Queen Camilla, which was for the front page of a magazine, and it even won a media award. Surely this meant only one thing: they are at war. And I'm sorry, but the drama llamas quit in 2020, if you remember, the whole Megxit, those drama queens have left. And ever since then, there's lots of stories that break out every so often. Courtiers at war, and Charles is angry at William's popularity, and Camilla is jealous over Catherine. And I personally, I just don't believe it. I believe that they are a very close-knit family. I believe that King Charles is possibly even more grateful to the bond that Catherine has helped grow between him and his eldest son, William, and especially with the fallout with his youngest son over the last couple of years. I think King Charles appreciates what an amazing son and daughter-in-law that he has. I can't fall into this whole thing that they're at war with each other and it's egos and it's jealousy. I think given the fact that Catherine loves photography, I think there is more of a chance that this might have even been at Catherine's suggestion. And it would also make sense that Catherine wouldn't want to be listed herself. Catherine is, of course, a very humble person, and I do not believe that on International Women's Day she'd want herself promoted. Unlike her sister-in-law, who, of course, as we know, is the polar opposite. Meghan released 4 photographs onto her Instagram account to celebrate International Women's Day, and she's in 3 out of the 4 of them. Now, 2 of them are of her mother, Doria, but let's be honest, I think it's less about Doria because Meghan features in both the photographs as well. And then we had a lovely one, despite obviously child safety concerns, of Harry on a boat holding his daughter Lily. Now, I first saw this and I thought, oh, that's a sweet picture, but people were quick to point out they're on a boat. Where is the safety jacket for their child? You know, these 2 are so concerned that they can't put them on a plane to come see their relatives due to the dangers of the UK. But they have Archie in the car on Meghan's lap, no car seat, no seatbelt, and you can see the speed of the car through the window. Meghan's mole, quick to point this out again. But moving away from that, the final photograph that was released of Harry hugging Meghan. They're in a lovely exotic location. What a sweet, romantic, candid moment as they both pretend that there's not a photographer capturing this really special moments in time. But what has Harry got to do with International Women's Day? The fact is, this was again about everything that Meghan does. Meghan was elevating herself on International Women's Day because it's all Meghan knows how to do. And it's also part of the reason why Meghan has earned herself a whole new legion of people that can't quite warm to her. Now, Meghan has long since said that anybody who dislikes her must be royal family fans. It's Catherine and William fans that are against her. It's misogynistic, it's racist. All of the excuses in the world. It is never anything to do with Meghan's behaviour and treatment of others. Now, of course, there were lots of people that got turned off of Meghan, not because she's biracial, not because we were all jealous because she started dating Harry, but because of the problems that she caused the moment she got her toe through the palace gates and started dating Harry. There was lots of pap strolls that were organised, and many people said this could be signs that she might not be in this for the true love story that they're really peddling. And of course, the drama, the magazine interviews, leave my girlfriend alone, this is our special time, it's for us. As she was spotted on her 30th quite clearly set up paparazzi stroll around the streets of Toronto, pretending that she was being hounded by the world's media, yet no mainstream newspapers even knew who she was. Then of course you've got people that then started getting a bit wary of her when they saw the engagement interview, the fact that she was very, I would say, taking over Harry. Lots of reports were coming out that Harry was ditching his army friends. He was not allowed to go out drinking anymore. Meghan was putting him on a health kick. So some people said, oh, that's wonderful for Harry. She's just looking out for him. And one by one, she started isolating him from friends that weren't allowed. Lifelong friends weren't allowed to come to the evening reception of the wedding. The fallouts with his grandparents, with his father, with his brother, with his sister-in-law. Harry had never shown signs of falling out with long-term members of staff, finding all of these problems until he started dating Meghan. So of course, lots of people started saying, I think I'm reading signs here that she may be the problem. Then of course, the wedding came and she treated her father terribly, especially because many people could see, well, hang on a minute, she's still doing pap strolls, even though she's married into the royal family, and she has cut off her father for doing the very same thing. And not only that, as many of us know, she's worked with that same photographer that set him up a few times since. Then, of course, they had a lot of people go against them with Oprah, not helped by the fact that there was a worldwide pandemic. You know, thousands of people were dying, people were losing their jobs. It was absolutely horrific with the restrictions that were put on people. You know, everybody remembers the Queen sitting there at Prince Philip's funeral, isolated and away from everyone. This is something that resonated with so many people, where we lost people that we cared about and we couldn't visit relatives in hospitals or nursing homes. But Harry and Meghan sat on Oprah's stage, bleating about how hard it had been. You know, the fact that Harry had to use his own money instead of daddy giving him millions turned out to be lies. Meghan's claims of racism, complete and utter fabrication of what happened. And the fact is that they had never said any of the stuff they said on Oprah when they left from Megxit, right up until the Queen turned around and said, right, you've had a year. We said to you, you're going to lose everything if you do this. And then they did Oprah. It was done in retaliation. It was done as revenge. That's why they brought up so many different things. It was done in design to cause maximum damage to the royal family. Then Philip died a few weeks later, and after Meghan had got her friends to go to the press and say they were just trying to muzzle her. So of course, Meghan has always said it's royal fans that dislike her because they feel that she took away Harry, you know, the best thing that ever happened to the royal family. And if anything, she took out the weakest link. Then many people went even more off them, if it was possible at this point, because of Netflix. Aired after the Queen had died. They knew how sick the Queen was. They knew that she was heartbroken after losing her husband, her rock of 70 years. And they were still bleating about their hardships. And people noticed telltale signs that they were a bit loose with the truth, because there were certain things in Netflix which they hadn't said on Oprah. And there were certain things that they'd said in other interviews, even after Netflix and Harry's book Spare, that didn't add up to Netflix or again what was on Oprah. In fact, any time that Harry and Meghan really get to talk properly so they can reveal the truth to the world, nothing ever seems to add up. So of course, when this new show aired, people are already aware that Meghan, Princess Pinocchio, is again a very loose woman when it comes to telling the truth. So everybody was ready to pull her apart for any fibs that she might or might not say. And there were a few of them. Meghan has definitely earned the new legion of people that have gone off of her in 2025. And she doesn't have the excuse of these are people that were fans of the royal family, that they blame her for everything, even though it's clearly obvious that Meghan was a bit of a problem. But this is people that didn't care about the royal family. You know, you've got a large part of America that didn't care when she married into the royal family, didn't care when Megxit happened. They didn't care about Oprah. But Meghan has made sure that she gets herself into the news all of the time now. So people that even didn't care about the monarchy have now known Meghan Markle because she's bloody everywhere. And there's lots of things that she's done. And of course, 2025, who can forget the fact that Justine Bateman called them out for being disaster tourists? It was very reminiscent of Meghan getting her photographs taken at a very public publicity stunt at Uvalde. So people are already seeing that this is a woman that cried on TV that she wanted privacy. She didn't want to serve her children up on a silver platter. 2025, Meghan, we have seen more of the kids in the last couple of months than what we have ever seen over the last few years. It's every couple of days. We've got Archie and Lily. They are everywhere, as is Meghan. Vanity Fair definitely added to this new pile-on because they are such a big magazine. This isn't a gossip magazine. This isn't one that you call a rag. You get the front cover, Vanity Fair. This is very big. And they did get a front cover calling them out for being American hustlers. It was American hustle. And they did not go lightly on Meghan. It was again highlighted the fact that she really bullies people. She's a very nasty person behind the scenes. And what definitely caused a bigger backlash was they outed her for shopping around for a divorce book from Harry. So people were like, oh, maybe everybody was right. She was a gold digger. She's got what she's wanted. And here she is lining up her ducks for a big old payout. This is why we then saw Meghan completely love bombing Harry at the Invictus Games. It was for the camera. It was for the clapback at she's shopping around for the divorce. Maybe she was just trying to woo Harry back. Of course course I wasn't, Harry. It's just more of a targeted smear campaign against me. Of course I love you. You know, we've had the People magazine where she was photoshopped within an inch of her life, but she spoke about how they're still in the honeymoon phase, and we all know that what that means, and you're like, ugh, that's a bit too much of an overshare. And then, of course, you've got the fact that the backlash of her being a disaster tourist. Then you had the Billie Eilish stunt filmed on Instagram for Meghan to show what a lovely gift that she has done for one young girl, when she just could have got Billie Eilish to send the stuff directly to the fan. But Meghan needed it as a PR opportunity, you know, and then she went to the outer dinner, Girls Fire, donations. Lots of celebrities donated. Meghan was the only one that turned up being photographed outside carrying bags of donations. You know, she couldn't just have it, oh, Meghan went there and helped out. We had tons of stories and interviews from the girl who set it up. Again, Meghan using other people to promote herself. People see through it now. And as I said, this is a brand new audience of people that are seeing this behaviour. Then, of course, with Love Meghan dropped in all its beige, bland and white glory, no lessons were learned from archetypes, where the guests came second and Meghan was always first. We again learned nothing about the guests. We were instead fed lots of cutesy anecdotes about Meghan's childhood, how she was forced to work at 13 years old, and a lot of it has been called into question. The fact that Meghan, as I'd said in the previous video, she had brought up, you know, that she didn't have a lot as a child. She was brought up on junk food and TV dinners. Well, Thomas Markle has clapped back and said, that's really not true now, is it? And I don't blame him. The thing is, everybody knows that Meghan has put lots of interviews out there, her own words, her own blog, The Tig, praising her father, saying that they went out to restaurants after her tap and ballet classes. Does that to you sound like a child growing up in poverty? Of course it doesn't. Even an interview that was given in 2015 to one particular magazine, Meghan had said that she grew up from farm to table. It was ingrained in her since childhood. And on the sets where her father worked, she learned how to prepare food trays and how connective it was, and how happy people were when she walked in with a tray of crudités. Yes, you can read it for yourself. Meghan's love of crudités was ingrained from her early childhood, round about the same time that she decided to be a feminist activist, obviously. But the difference was there were no mention of dead flowers elevating and bringing that little bit of extra magic. One of the biggest complaints that has turned people off of her was the way she spoke to Mindy Kaling. That passive aggressiveness. Oh, it's so funny hearing you call me Meghan Markle because you know I'm Sussex now. And you're like, well, that's not actually true now, Meghan, is it? Because Meghan has only done this push very recently. And people were quick again to point out Meghan had a very different story about losing her identity and her name on Oprah.
I nearly lost my name. I mean, there's the loss of identity.
She didn't seem to care too much about making sure that she shared the same name as her children, which, by the way, for those of you that don't know, is Mountbatten Windsor. That is what is on the children's birth certificates. But hey, that's not as profitable. And if she does ever split from Harry, she wants people to know her as Sussex. Meghan came across as unbearable, insufferable, and fake. And I'm no longer talking about Meghan's With Love Meghan. I'm talking about her appearance with Drew Barrymore. That show, I've got to take some time because I need to break that down for you guys a little bit more for those of you that haven't seen it or you just want to hear about it, because the things she came out with on that were unbelievable. But again, it was so obvious that she was lying when she blinks furiously. When you know that someone is a liar, then when they try and have a conversation with you, you just can see the lies falling out of their mouths. And Drew had a face on her sometimes throughout it where she was just like, yeah, whatever, Meghan Sussex. I can't help but feel that Drew was roasting her a little bit, especially when she brought up the photograph that she had with Princess Diana, but I'll talk more about that when I manage to do this Drew Barrymore video. Even her huge announcement for season 2, people found unbearable because it was Meghan jigging in front of it looks like some wisteria wearing a Netflix salad pun hat. I mean, if this is the level of merchandise that they're going to be selling at their stores, I mean, that's hilarious, isn't it? Let us remain calm. I can see the Sussex squad all walking around the malls wearing these really sad salad hats because let's be honest, no one else is going to buy them unless Meghan, of course, bulk buys like what she did the bench and I'm sure spare, and that will go in their garage of failures with 40 by 40 merchandise. But honestly, she's jigging. Oh, everybody keep calm. Season 2 is coming to you. And it wasn't season 2 as it turned out because I was horrified at first. I was like, why would Netflix waste more money on this? It was all filmed together. 16 episodes were filmed at the same time. And worryingly, I think they picked the best of a bad bunch to air as part 1. Perhaps they were going to see how well it did before they decided to release part 2. And, you know, obviously it went very, very badly. But Meghan's done an announcement on her Instagram, and I can't help but feel the fact that it wasn't from Netflix, that Meghan nailed them to the wall, because she's done the announcement and now Netflix are like, well, she's thrown it out there now. We've got to air part 2. Because I find it strange that they never announced the fact that there will be 2 parts. And Meghan's gone, haha, you have no choice now. I mean, I really cannot see this helping to renew her contract with Netflix. I would be shocked if they renewed it. I mean, nobody can believe that it's lasted this long and they didn't try and bow out of it. Now, that being said, I am not altogether too sure that Netflix haven't got a little bit of their own payback because they left so many bits in season 1 or part 1 of this show that put Meghan or painted Meghan or showed Meghan in a bad light. She didn't come across as nice. She came across as bitchy. There were lots of stares and moments that they could have easily cut, but they left in. And also knowing how cheesy and patronising and condescending she came across, they again chose to leave that in. And I'm wondering, is it a little bit of passive aggressiveness from Netflix and the crew going, do you know what? Leave that in. Yeah, Meghan, that looks great. Meghan, that's going to make you look so good. Keep that in, because everybody knows, from the Spotify staff, from the Gimlet staff, from all of the people that have worked with her, even I think it was the Vanity Fair staff, Meghan has been a pain in the arse to work alongside or work for. It's not just the magazines that have called her out. She's been called out by videographers. She's been called out by people that have worked on sets, the Reitman's ads. Meghan is an absolutely horrid person to try and work with. And I can't help but feel that Netflix have done a little bit of a number on her there, hence why they left the comments section open as well on the trailers, on the sneak peeks, knowing that she was getting absolutely destroyed. They never restricted it. And I can't help but feel it's been done on purpose. So as for Meghan earning herself a new legion of anti-fans, shall we call them, I find it hilarious because she can no longer blame it on us royal supporters and royal fans. This is all her own doing. This is Meghan's version of herself 2025, and she's just still not likeable. And the thing is, she can call her show With Love Meghan, and she can try, and Harry can try to force us to hug her and to love her, and it's never ever going to work because quite simply it is not possible for anybody to like or to love Meghan as much as she loves herself. And it's so completely apparent, and it's a comedy show. Meghan has morphed herself into that cartoon caricature that was on South Park. She is that person, and I am 99% certain that if someone opened Meghan's mouth like that, it would be a hollow echo inside. So guys, that's it for me on this video. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me what you think on this one. I'm going to do lots of videos this week, but I will break down the Drew Barrymore one. And then I've got to talk about some gorgeous photographs from Commonwealth Day of the Prince and Princess of Wales. They just love them. Absolutely love them. So guys, that's it for me. I will be back with you very soon. Take care for now. Bye.